It's Mohim for Boxing Domination, and today I'm joined by the Baron, Aaron McCallum, ahead of his rematch with Scott McHugh, June 1st on the last BKB show. Aaron, thank you for joining me. How you feeling?
All right, mate. Thanks for having me. Yeah, feeling amazing. I ain't gonna lie.
Your last fight, of course, was against Corey Healy. I
hmm
believe that was on the 30th of March, and now you're coming back against Scott for the rematch. How's training prep going for this fight?
It's every time I step it up a level. I have no choice in stepping up a level. My coaches literally just tear me to bits and make sure I'm constantly working for what's needed. So yeah, it's brutal every time. I'm definitely feeling it. I can't wait to get the fight done. Like I was for the last one with Corey, I can remember saying I can't wait to get the fight done and have a break, but obviously they gave me Scott McHugh straight after that one. So yeah, I'm ready for the break again there.
So it's a rematch is always a pressured thing for fighters, whether it be the home or the away fighter. Do you feel any pressure in this fight as well? And what went wrong in the first fight?
Yeah, I don't feel any pressure at all, if I'm being honest. If I felt more pressure of my first fight with Scott. I'm just more I'm more excited about getting back in the ring with him. Um, yeah, I mean, no disrespect to Scott Hall, but obviously it's revenge for me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a nasty way at all. Um, it's not like I want to hurt him or make anything bad of him. I need to win this fight. Do you know what I mean? He's been in the same predicament as me with Lafferty as well, so he knows what I mean by that. So yeah, no, I'm not nervous or anything. I'm excited to be getting in there with him, and and like you say, it's the last BKB show, which makes it even more exciting. So yeah, there's just loads about this fight that's just very exciting. I mean, to me, it feels like the belt's a bonus in this fight, if as well as the rematch. Do you know what I mean?
Of course, it is for the world lightweight title, and it is the last BKB show, meaning it's going to be BYB show going forward, or BYB Europe going forward. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of the whole BYB happening, and I believe it's going to be the Trigon going forward as well. Do you know much about the BYB rules, and
Yeah,
what's your thoughts
I
on it?
try and watch as much as it is possible. I know it's on early hours in the morning, but when I'm not in fight camp, let's say, I do watch all the BYB shows. It's a bit hard in fight camp. You rest what you get. You want to be resting. Do you know what I mean? Not being staying up till early hours in the morning. But I'm looking forward to getting in that trigon, mate. I've been asking Jim to get me a fight over in America for quite a while now. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to be fighting in that triangle ring. Definitely in the triangle.
And starting off with BKB as well, what made your journey through BKB? You know, how did the call come about?
It was just by off chance. It was my missus's fault. If I, she obviously wanted to see me get a few black eyes and that. But yeah, she's seen one of my friends, Danny Turnbull, who used to fight for. I think there was Ubad at the time. He put a post on a couple of years ago saying that this fight had come up. I think it was only 2 days' notice. I think it was on the Thursday that it got put on. And I was literally drinking and everything at the
And that
time,
was
and I
against
just
Chris Fishgold, wasn't it?
gold, yeah, yeah. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't really want to know anything about him. I just knew from the second of getting in that ring, whatever the outcome, I knew something big was coming out of it. I don't do things just to be a number in. They're not anything I've ever done. Do you know what I mean? Um, and I said to the person that actually took me down that day, don't worry about this fight. Don't worry about what goes off. But I'm telling you now, I'll be winning that British title before long. And that's all I had my eyes set on. And then obviously winning the British title, and you have to think of more goals on what's next. So, and now we've got the world title. So yeah, it's. I need pinching hard. Do you know what I mean? It still feels like a dream, or punching hard, as I say.
You must be buzzing. I mean, can you tell me a bit about your background before getting into bare knuckle boxing? So, what got you in? Like, have you got any boxing or MMA background? You know, If you can
Yeah,
sum
well,
up for
I was
me.
a bodybuilder before. I don't know if you've seen any of me write ups what BKB's done or that, but I was a bodybuilder for I think touching around 12 to 15 years bodybuilding. I went straight. I only trained for just over a year and went straight into competing. And I'm just one of them type of guys. Like, if I'm doing something, I'm doing it to be the best at it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, when I was doing bodybuilding, I just competed and I went in to win every time. And the only one that I ever lost, I came second in. And that was my first ever show. After that, I won every competition I did, like won the Britain's novice. Um, but I sort of did that once I'd got used to doing that. It was Groundhog Day every day. Like the gym was easy. Everything else was dead hard. Like, I mean, it's a turnaround now. The gym's hard. Do you know what I mean? Training's hard now, and the food's quite easy. But back back doing the bodybuilding, you when you went to the gym, that was the easy part, the fun part. But then the eating and all that was just had a strain on your body. It was horrible. But I enjoyed it at the time. I ain't gonna lie. I enjoyed being big and looking nasty and all the time. It was that's how I was, and I just had enough of it. I'd got to a point where I was sick of just feeling crap all the time. Like when I was at my best, I felt my worst. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't fit or anything like that. So there was a boxing gym next door to the gym that I was training at the time, and I just went in there. That was the same. Like I went in there, and then a couple of days later, I was fighting on this show because someone dropped out. Um, why I don't know. It's just I just divvy like that. Do you know what I mean? And I enjoyed that buzz. The crowd I was in, I wouldn't say it was we weren't the best crowd at the time. We was all young. We all ended up. We all liked to party and stuff like that. That's what came with it, sort of thing. So yeah, I ended up having 3 glove fights, and after my third glove fight, I just went off the rails, mate. And I went off the rails big time, drinking, taking drugs, and you name it, I was doing it, always in trouble with the police. And that started to become normal. Do you know what I mean? I nearly lost my wife and everything through all that, just being a complete idiot. Um, and yeah, and then BKB just sent, God just sent them to me. Do you know what I mean? It was meant to be, and I've just not looked back since. I feel 21 now. Do you know what I mean? I'm 38, and I feel the youngest I've ever felt. And just everyone about around me is just amazing. And life's great. I'm not. Yeah, that's how I explain it. It's just a great time at the minute.
So going back on, of course, the bodybuilding part as well. What was the transition like from going into bodybuilding to fighting? Because people often refer as bodybuilders as just big men who can't fight, but it's a different story, when
Yeah,
it comes to you.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've always been from a young age. I've always as weird as it's, I've always enjoyed fighting. I wouldn't say nothing like a bully like that, but if there was ever trouble, I wouldn't want to back down from it. I enjoyed it. So yeah, like I didn't know how to fight. I don't think anybody knows how to fight unless they've got in a boxing ring and been trained how to do it. I mean, I've been there. Yeah, I thought I could fight, but compared to now, no, I couldn't fight at all. You know what I mean? The only good thing is I had a good punch on me because of the power I had. Like, but and that's like the only good thing I can take away from the bodybuilding is the power it still gives me. Now you see, you get a power that never leaves. Do you know what I mean? But when you're training weights all the time, you ain't fast. You're very slow. Like you're lifting X amount of weights. Yeah, you ain't very fast, but you can it. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, so I would, I, yeah, I just enjoyed. I've always been a fighter. Do you know what I mean? Always, whether it's in the street or what. So BKB suited me in that sense. Like the only thing I went into when I started BKB, it was still like a rough, ready fight for me. Like it was trying to get out of that vibe and turn it into a boxer, and which my coaches are doing very good with me. I know I'm doing the hard work, but without them, I won't be as good as I am now. So
And of course, according to BoxRec, it says you are from Nottingham. Is that correct?
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So obviously, what was it like growing up? Like, can you tell me a bit about like your early childhood? What what was I like growing up back then? Of course, more than
It's
30 years
nothing,
ago, a
isn't it?
long
I mean,
time ago.
yeah, Nottingham's. I mean, it is what it is. It's most probably one of the roughest places to ever get brought up in. Do you know what I mean? You had to have someone about you. If you didn't, then you was that kid that was getting picked on a bit. Do you know what I mean? I've always been a well-known lad. So yeah, everyone just knows me, and they know me for being a rough lad as well. But you had to grow up to be that. I mean, my dad back in the day, he was a good strong lad. You know what I mean? Like no one dared mess with him, so I had that behind me as well. So I had to live up to that as such. That's what you used to think when you was hitting teenagers, like, you know what I mean? That's my dad, so I can be like that. Not the best way things to go about it, I say, but yeah, you live to that, don't you? So yeah, I was always in trouble. I'm not gonna lie, I've always been in trouble fighting wise and divvy stuff like that. Just never growing up until now.
BKB journey for every fighters, every single fighters have their own story. Of course, you've built your own as well, and you're still building it as you look to make history on June the 1st and adding the last BKB world title to your strap. In terms of the BYB fights, though, I do want to ask you. Of course, the rules are very different. I believe you can hold while punching in BYB. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, Obviously, you coming from a bodybuilding background, would you say that's helped you, or maybe has given you an advantage because it still consists of weight training, and a lot of fighters do weight training for power? Am I correct or am I wrong?
Yeah, 100%. It's also helped me like getting to my weights and stuff like because I know how to diet. I mean I don't really have to diet now. I just eat very good, and you know what I mean. I know how to move my water in my body up and down and stuff like that to get to certain weights if it needs be. I mean I'm bang on weight now, and I have been for I think about a week and a half. Been bang on weight, and so every morning I weigh myself, and I go by that day what I can eat. So I can enjoy the last so many weeks of still eating good foods and training and making sure my nutrition is always in there. Do you know what I mean? And not having to suck out all my water out of me and stuff like that before weighing and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm ready 3 weeks prior to the fight of being. Do you know what I mean? So it's helped like that, and yeah, definitely it's helped with the power. I mean, you don't go benching 180 kilogram and lose weight and still not have that power. Do you know what I mean? Um, and I still train weights. I just don't train weights. I mean, I've stopped now. I always stop around 2 weeks out from the fight anyway. But I can still train ever, but fast. When I say ever, compared to your ordinary boxer, I'm most probably lifting twice as much weight as what they'd be lifting because I'm used to that. Do you understand? Like
What's your PR
uh,
for deadlift?
for deadlift,
Yeah.
360 kilograms.
Wow. That is
It's
that is
on. It's
incredible.
actually on YouTube somewhere. I did it. There's a YouTube video of my dad slapping me around my head, ready for it, and that proper psyching me up. And I did that for 2 reps as well. And at the time, I think I was only 13 and a half stone. So when you did it
Wow.
by like Wilkes weight, I was stupidly strong. Yeah, it's madness.
That's incredible. I mean, I haven't even hit 80 yet. That is incredible. That is incredible. So, in terms of the weight cut, of course, I'm gonna go back on that as well. A lot of fighters, for example, with someone like Devin Haney, who lost to Ryan Garcia, had a lot of
Yeah,
issues. Even despite moving up from 135 to 140, he had a lot of issues making weight, and that became an issue. Errol Spence had the same issue with Terence Crawford. So many fighters have an issue with weight cuts. Josh Taylor with
yeah.
Teofimo Lopez and so many other fighters in his previous fights. When it comes to weight cut for you, it's like, would you say it's a lot easier for you because of the knowledge you've got from bodybuilding, and you say like it's during the week of the fight, are you on the exact same weight, like around the weight you're meant to be, or do you make a
Yeah.
massive weight drop?
No, I literally like even when I'm not in camp, I try and stay around 2, 3 kilogram heavier than what my fight weight is as well. So like I mean, thanks to one of my sponsors, Scott Knowles, I've known him for quite a few years. Like, he's still in the bodybuilding game, so and he's very clued up with nutrition and stuff like that. Online coaching, Freaks Online Coaching. That's who he is. If people want to look him up, like he's to me one of the best there is. I mean, when you look at his profile of what he's done with people, it's incredible. Do you know what I mean? So if I ever get unstuck, I mean, all my knowledge is from him anyway. So if I ever get unstuck, I just ring him up like I need to drop a few pounds or whatever. Then he'll just tell me what to do, but still, so I can still stay nicely energy and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I do know a lot of it. And like I say, I think the worst thing for boxers is getting to a weight in the last week. Like you see it all the time, and it's just no good for your body. You're not going to be very energetic, no matter what you're doing, whatever sports you're doing. If you're leaving it till that last week to get all your weight out and stuff like that. So I do like to be at weight three weeks, even 4 weeks before my fight, and just make sure I'll just weigh myself every single morning, and I eat either more or less depending on what the scale say to me that day. Do you know what I mean? And I just find it a lot easier. Like, I mean, I don't have one day where I feel crap. Do you know what I mean? I feel tired, which is normal when you're training twice a day and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't feel like I like all my sugars are low and stuff like that. I just feel great all the time.
On fight day, a lot of fighters they tend to have a lot of you'd call it maybe mantras, for example, in order to get themselves prepped for the fight. So some guys I've seen before a boxing match, they'll go for a pee maybe like 10, 15 times within the time span of 10, 15 minutes or an hour. Just say I'm one of the officials. I've just come inside your changing room and I told you, you know what? There's 10 minutes to go until the fight. What goes through your mind in that moment, just 10 minutes before you're entering the ring?
I just change, like I go from, I wouldn't say, I try and get enough aggression in me to not not aggression like I want to murder this guy, like the right aggression with I'm going in to beat this guy. Do you know what I mean? Try and keep that, but still stay calm with it. I've found in my last few fights, even the time I fought Scott the first time, I was a lot more calmer, a lot more composed to what any other fights I ever had, and that obviously comes with experience. But with Scott, I didn't have the aggression as such when I first fought him. I think I was just excited a bit too much about fighting him. So yeah, I was composed, but the aggression sort of gone. And I suppose he was the first person that I was fighting who I'd actually spoke to before I was fighting him. So you become a bit pally with him. So I learned from that. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, keep him at arm's length. Like one day you might be fighting him. You know what I mean? Like that's how you got to be with him. So yeah, I just I just get that as much aggression inside as possible, but to still stay composed and just pray to God, and that's all I can do. You know what I mean? It's all in God's hands. And
And how much do you know of Scott? Because of course I know, everyone sort of knows who Scott McHugh is now in BKB. But how much did you know of
yeah,
him before? And since the fight, how much do you like have you done your homework on him? Don't give too much away, just a little bit for the viewers.
yeah. Well, he shares enough for me to see. He does that on purpose, like. But I also told him after our last fight, because he said to me he was quite surprised how fit I was. But the reason I was so fit is because every time he put a video, I went and did twice as much as what he was doing. So you know what I mean. So whatever he was doing, I was doubling it. So if he's clicked onto that from the last one, he's most probably put on double just so I tie myself out. You know what I mean? But yeah, what do I know about him? I know you know you can know everything about a person, but again, on that night, it's going to be different. Do you know what I mean? I know he's at a professional professional gym now with new lads, but the same. I've got professional coaches. I've got professional boxers to spar with. Like I think both of our game since our last fight has changed dramatically. Do you know what I mean? So um, it's like the last fight. He knew what he had to do to keep that belt and did it perfectly. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing more I could have done to try and win that belt, bar from put him down, which he was just too clever to step in. Obviously, this is vacant this time, so he knows he can't just be on the back foot. He's gonna be in this, so it's gonna be a completely different fight. So no matter what I know about him from the last fight and what I've seen, you have to adjust to him in that ring. Do you know what I mean? As well, I mean, I've changed dramatically from my last fight, so he knows he's going to have a different fight on his hands. Yeah, there's only so much you can really get on him, won't there? But
And
I
that,
think I've got enough up there about him that I need to know. Do you know what I mean? But I leave it all to my coach. My coach will be watching him. A fighter can watch too much and look into it too much, and it just ruins the brain. So I just leave that stuff to my coach, and he tells me what to do. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, that's absolutely right. And I'm gonna keep it a bit short, because I do want to catch up with you a lot more face to face
Yeah,
June 1st before the fight, maybe a day before. So, in terms of the BYB fight, though, I'm gonna ask the very last question on BYB before I ask my last question on the BKB side. In terms of the, first BYB fight, of course, do you think, your style of fighting is going to be more suitable with the Trigon rules compared to the traditional BKB rules?
yeah, most definitely. And I think a lot of fighters are. I think it's playing with their heads at the minute because I mean I've enjoyed learning how to box and stuff like that, and I wish I wish I learned earlier. Do you know what I mean? I could have been very good at boxing for what I'm doing now. So I've now got to be that brawler again as such. But I've seen some of the guys in that Trigon boxing, and they're good still. They still know how to do the boxing in there. So yeah, my style is it's definitely going to help. I think anybody, MMA fighters and stuff like anyone that's strong, I think that Trigon suits them a lot more to your average boxer in that ring. Do you know what I mean? I mean, you've only got to look at the statistics when they fight our boxers in the Trigon. If our boxers are good boxers, they're struggling there. Do you know what I mean? But the rough and ready lads, they really they don't know how to fight in a phone box. Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit better for them.
I think like the
We'll
likes of
see.
like Brad Scott, for example, who's a former UFC veteran, fighting
Yeah,
in. Oh, sorry, it's just yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the likes of like Brad Scott, for example, who's a former UFC veteran. I think with someone like him or someone like yourself, the Trigon and the Trigon rules will really favor compared to
yeah, definitely,
boxers who don't
definitely. I
like
mean,
the
yeah,
rough and rigid.
yeah, definitely. I mean, Brad Scott, he's gonna be something else in that Trigon ring. I let me tell you, he's a tough guy, you know. Do you know what I mean? I mean, look at Martin Raffel, my good mate Martin. When he was in there, he's a beast in there. It suits him to the ground. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's just, yeah, it's definitely suited and booted for us type of rough, ready lads. Can't wait for
And
it.
what
Really
are we
excited.
expecting from you on June the 1st when we get to witness a history in the last BKB event?
Yeah, just expect to win. You know what they say? Don't be too what's the word? Too don't be too. I can't even think of the word. I can't even think of the word of it now. What's the bloody word? Confident. Don't be too confident about it. Do you know what I mean? But I tell you what, mate, I am very confident that I'm going to take it. And as much as I mean, I know he's learned his boxing and stuff like that, but so have I. So I can see it being a very good boxing match, and as well as some decent toe to toe action in there. Do you know what I mean? And the toe to toe action, I can't wait for that bit because I know I'm tough and ready for that toe to toe action. Um, it's it. I've been sparring lads' eye every week for up to this fight, so I know how to get in. I'm ready to box, you know what I mean? And I'm ready to beat him on points. I don't go looking for knockouts anymore. If it comes, you know what? Expect good boxing, mate. And it's weird saying that. Do you know what I mean? It is weird saying that from myself. Expect some good boxing because I've done in my sparring and stuff. Like, I've shocked myself. Definitely shocked myself with how I've just adjusted to the movement to it and stuff like that. I mean, the first time I sparred the pro boxers, I was buzzing. I left the gym so happy because I was on par with them. Do you know what I mean? And the good boxers. So yeah, yeah. Expect very good boxing, and when needs be, expect a good brawl as well.
And before we let you go, though, do you want to maybe say something about your sponsors and to everyone that's going to be watching June 1st?
Yeah, I've got loads of sponsors. I'd like to thank obviously everyone that's bought a ticket. Um, they do it all the time. I'm always going down to London with an army. I took an army down to Wolverhampton as well. I can't thank them enough. My sponsors, Nature's Nourishment. I normally have my t-shirt on. I've got them all on. Nature's Nourishment, Team Freaks
We
online
can have it at the
coaching.
bottom.
Yeah, Muscle Solutions. Um, Be Well Now. I've got loads. I mean, people on my Facebook, I'm always sharing them. I've got Prestige Groundworks, CJ Landscapes, um, King Couriers. Yeah, so people that's on my Facebook, on my Instagram, please check them out. They're all good sponsors. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm grateful for all them.
And we cannot wait until we see Scott McHugh versus the.
I better just give you my clothing sponsor. Sorry, mate. Vizubu. They're obviously they're my top sponsor. They do all my kit work. Yeah, so I better tell them they put them ones out there. They're quick.
And thank you so much, Aaron, and we'll catch you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.